Vowels. I call you Vowels because when we were teammates, you used to name me by my last name, Rosberg, in engineering meetings.
Is that right?
Which for me was like, how shockingly impersonal was that? So since then, your name is Vowels.
Correct.
And yeah, and so your weakness at the moment here is the aerodynamics in prolonged corners. What do you need to do in the wind tunnel, in the design, to improve that? What is the one mechanism that can be done to improve that?
So here's the bad news. It's not one mechanism, really. It's quite a significant change to be able to improve that. So the goodness that we've had at previous circuits comes from how we develop the car in the wind tunnel. If you specifically tune to what helps us here, it will actually have a negative impact elsewhere. So we haven't yet found the balance of what we're doing. What we've been trying to do is actually tune out some of this characteristic here, but it's not enough.
You see, that's a great team leader because he's able to describe every single department and have expertise in every single department, even in the air department, knowing exactly what's going on there.
Great respect.
It is. But by the way, we used to call him Rosberg. I used to call him Rosberg because there's Nico Hulkenberg and Nico Rosberg. So it made it clearer for everyone.
Yes, but I was sitting at your table. I was your friend and teammate.
I feel it's going to turn into an argument here.
Nico R. Nico R would have been clear enough.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Yeah, come on, Rosberg. With everything else we're talking about with this circuit, as I was saying, Q1 actually, the last 3 years, and I hate to rub it in, but it has been 19th and 20th, 18th and 20th, and 19th and 20th again. But you called it a 9 out of 10 problem that you've reduced to a 4 out of 10 problem. Are there other tracks, other circuits where you feel it will be similar? I'm thinking Parabolica. I mean, I don't know.
Which one do you go for?
Was it going to be Parabolica and things like that?
No, Parabolica will be okay. No, I think Budapest will be a bit of a struggle, and I think Qatar will be a bit of a struggle. I think those are the two. If you think about Qatar, the long sequences of corners that rotate themselves, I think those two.
James, I just wanted to come to you on the topic that everyone's been talking about coming to this weekend, the TD on flexi wings. I don't know how much of an issue it's been for you guys, but now that we've had 3 practices, we've asked a lot. Obviously, it hasn't seemed to have made a big difference on the pecking order, but is it actually working? Because I know the simulations that the FIA and the scrutineers are able to do in the pit lane is nothing like what the load is down the straight. So has it actually had a proper effect and the effect that the FIA wanted to have?
So I'll answer in both ways. The car we have here is actually a little bit quicker than the car we had in Imola and Miami because we took this opportunity to update the front wing as well, and that update was more potent than the TD. So to give you an idea of the order of magnitude. And I'm pretty sure everyone has stiffened their front flaps. So in other words, is it working? Yes, because by definition we've all put work in to make sure that we are stiffer. But all it does really is it's a slight balancing tool that you have. This is one of the tracks that helps you the most, but it is just a balancing tool you can work around with different systems. So I don't think it was ever going to change the order.
Vowels, I don't know if we can find it, but one of the last images from Monaco was you waving your finger at Toto, who was standing up in the VIP box in the pit lane, and then you kind of waved it off at the end. So it was like, it looked to me like if you write me one more WhatsApp like that, our friendship is done. That was like the hand signaling. Are you still speaking to each other, or is it like... is it done at the moment?
The conversation we were having at the time was, he was talking to me about how do we fix this? Is it a maximum lap time? Do we do other things? And I was going, the way to do it is a joker lap. So
that was the finger?
That was the finger. We're speaking 2 minutes after the session was speaking last night. We're still in good conversation. There's zero problems. And you asked on a completely different channel in a different language, what does speaking mean? It means we are still close and in a good relationship. There's no problem at all.
Is that why you didn't pull the trigger before racing bulls then? Because you just didn't want it. You thought out of politeness for Mercedes.
The reason why we didn't is this. I want to go, and Nico knows this from the time that he's worked with me, I want us to score points.
You mean Rosberg?
On sporting equity and fairness. I want to do this as a sports person. At the point, though, when all of us were pushed out and all that was left now was a P10, you're forced into it. If you don't do it, you lose a point on the table. If we wanted to do it competitively, we should have done that from lap 1. And we didn't. We waited fundamentally as long as we could until it was determined that this was it.
Did it feel worse that you were doing that to your old team, Mercedes? Had it been another team, would you have felt as guilty as you seem to have done?
As an individual, I don't like doing it to anyone that's behind us, particularly in that circumstance. But we will do what it takes to score points. It's as simple as that. But if I can be a gentleman about it, I will be.
Vowels, one last thing. How are you going to go back to winning races? Can you name one thing? Is it acquiring even more talent, density within the team? Is it just improving your structuring even more? Say one thing, please, where you think that could be one of the things that takes us to winning races.
In all the time we worked together, when's it been one thing?
I'm asking you to name one thing of the many.
Time. Time is long.
Oh, that's boring. Something else. That's really boring. Come on. That's really boring.
It's just, there's a lot of great people that are joining, or great systems coming in place, but they take time to get done.
And is there a time period on this when you were talking? I mean, Alex actually, prior to the season, said,
Don't believe a word he says.
Don't believe what he says. 2026 might be a little bit early, but you know, you could, with the way you are at the moment, you just need one of those, abnormal races.
I think the way I describe it is this car wasn't a focus. It came out the wind tunnel very early. You're just seeing foundations being run correctly. Next year will be a step up on what we have now, and then there'll be steps up in 27 and 28. So that's the pathway. Where it looks like in the championship is hard to predict, but I can assure you there's bits coming online that will move us forward each of those years.
Okay, the reliability is just finally going into qualifying on Alex's car. How much of an issue that? Think you get that sorted? And honestly, Q3 is a target, yeah?
With one car. I think it's a lot of work to get what we have done with Alex, simply because as I walked out here to come chat to you, we haven't fully diagnosed it yet.
What is it? We ask what part
it's
of the
effectively
car?
we're seeing noise in the master cylinder and the brake system, so it's yet to be understood exactly where that's coming from. It's nothing unsafe. He could do a lap, but it was warming the brakes more than we wanted it to, so it's got to be understood properly.
Thanks, James. Bit to get on with. We'll let you get to it. And best of luck for the rest of the weekend. Let's go to...
So I'm down here outside McLaren, like Anne showed there, Piastri leading the field, 5 tenths clear of Norris, 7 tenths clear of Ferrari with Leclerc. But what of Leclerc? What are we expecting going into qualifying for him? So he's actually looking pretty confident of his qualifying chances. He's one of the drivers that has taken only 4 sets of soft into qualifying. So he will have 1 soft less than his near competitors. Ferrari split the drivers. Hamilton has 1 more soft than Leclerc. The only other team to do that is Haas. So Haas have 2 medium tyres and 4 soft for qualifying. I think Haas have done that because they're not expecting to progress all the way to Q3, so they've retained what they think are more race tyres. But a split of Ferrari, Leclerc 1 to watch in qualifying with 1 less soft than his nearest competitors. Keep an eye on that. And then what a split of form here at Ferrari as well, with Hamilton with those downshift issues. That'll be a big concern for the team. They might be straight into a gearbox change because you don't want any overhang of that going into the rest of the session. They should be very quickly able to diagnose if it's an electronic issue, a sensor issue, or if there's something more internal within the gearbox to look at. So a bit of work to be done here at Ferrari, but keep an eye on Leclerc with those 1 set less soft tyres in this qualifying session just about to come. Back to you, Simon.
Yeah, thank you, Bernie. It looked like he was moaning about it towards the end. It might have addressed itself just looking at the team radio. What do you think on that?
Yeah, so what it is with the downshifts, what was going on for Lewis there, is if the downshifts are harsh, you're braking into a corner and the rear axle from braking already is on the limit. And if you then add a harshness in the downshift, you'll get these mini micro lockings every time. It just locks up. And when you lock up the rears, it just spirals the car out of control. It overheats the temperature. You get a snap going into the corner. It's like a horrible thing to have. And that's what Lewis was struggling with now. So they really need to sort that out. Sometimes it's electronic, but sometimes it can also be a mechanical thing, of course.
And with regards to Lewis, I mean, obviously he's not been comfortable all weekend. And we know here it's likely to be a 2-stop, perhaps the first traditional 2-stop of the year. We had one in Bahrain, didn't we, actually?
Creating almost like a disbalance between the front of the car and the rear of the car, and then ultimately ending up overheating the tyres and actually just not lasting as long as it's going to need to. So it's looking a little bit more like it's going to be a medium soft race and therefore a 2-stop. It's not to say that a hard medium, for example, wouldn't work. It just wouldn't be optimal and you wouldn't get the benefit out of it. So yeah, it's strange that they haven't been able to get out of here because the C1 around a track that's so hot and there's so high deg seems like the obvious tyre to use, but it's just not in the operating window here.
Quick word on your old team and the signs for them so far?
Well, I think they're in the hunt for P3 in qualifying with Russell, which would be best of the rest after McLaren. And therefore Russell, especially Russell, Antonelli has always been a little bit more than 2 tenths off this weekend. So again, George has a great chance for a podium. Just one more thing I wanted to add before, Ant, you said that Lando's engineers will know exactly what to do. But actually, I hope they're watching this commentary here from us, because his engineers told Lando it's bouncing, but it's not bottoming. And in fact, you could see and hear it very clearly on the television that it's bouncing and bottoming. And the bottoming could actually be the biggest problem, because that's what lifts the tires off the ground and can make you very light and can create a snap. Okay. So I do hope that they're getting this one right, because it didn't seem like from the first diagnosis they made.
Okay, well, Ant's not there at the moment. He's gone for his lunch, but we can hear from him after the break. As he seems extremely grounded. Level-headed guy.
Yeah, lovely lad. He really is. And yeah, I wish him all the best for the future. He had a bit of a tough day yesterday in qualifying in F2. He lines up only P8, but you know, he's had recovery drives from those positions this year, and that's how he's leading the championship.
Let's come back to that because Rosberg, as we've just been talking to Vals about that, he was part of the Mercedes he was, along with Gwen Legru, bringing drivers through, and now that he's the team principal at Williams and he's a young driver from the Williams program, he should be in very good hands there.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Vals knows him since many years now, and probably picked him because he saw that he's such a special talent in the time at Mercedes. So yeah, I'm sure Vals will be taking care of him very, very well and supporting him very well, and that's what you need as a young driver, especially from when you feel that you have recognition from the very top, from the team boss. It really helps.
Yeah, he was actually part of the British Drivers Association, BRDC. Part of the process for the young drivers to run them in the Mercedes simulator these days, and that's where they first discovered Luke Browning, and that's where James would raise an eyebrow because he could see the potential, and now he's doing sim work at Williams. So yeah, nice one, James.
But talking of the sim work and all of this sim racing that you mentioned there, that he does with Max Verstappen, that he does with Gabriel Bortoleto, it seems to be more and more of a trait of the young drivers coming in, and it clearly serves an advantage to them, as he was mentioning there.
Yeah, I've come to a point to think that it's helpful to your performance in the end here on the racetrack, and that it's something where someone like Lewis Hamilton, who's still old school and doesn't do any of that sim stuff, I think it may be at a point now where it's a disadvantage, and where even someone like Lewis should just get into it. And really, because you practice your skills then constantly, every day. And
you know, the first time I ever saw this on track was Lando Norris, Bahrain, turn 4. He started to use the outside curb before turning in, because it's a flat painted curb. It's something on the sim you can explore with, experiment. And he put it into practice, and now everyone, you watch this year, everyone's using that painted bit of tarmac before turning into turn 4. It's a sim thing.
No. But more than those details, I wonder if it just hones your skills, you know, and
it does.
Keeps your mental reaction speed. It keeps the practice going. And whereas someone like Lewis goes home then and does nothing remotely to keep your speed of processing going and practicing that, whereas everybody else, now the young guys, they go home from the race weekend and they're straight in the sim, doing hours and hours and hours. And of course, it's a similar skill requirement. And I'm convinced it's starting to make a difference.
There's hope for you yet, son. Get you on the sims, we'll train you up.
My son's got F1 2023. I need to get him the
Who's
new
quicker,
one.
you or your son?
Yeah, he's much quicker than me.
Although I had already secured my Williams drive. I remember in Monza, I had not won the championship yet, and Frank Williams got me into the garage and said, Nico, we're going to give the drive to you. And I was like, oh.